April 30, 2020. NASA announced the award of close to $1 billion split between three companies: SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Dynetics. SpaceX, to everyone's surprise, proposed a modified version of their next generation rocket, Starship, which is under rapid development. The Lunar Starship is a part of NASA's Human Landing System program for Artemis, which aims to take humans back to the moon. The Lunar Starship, as you may know, is expected to remain in the moon's orbit indefinitely. As the goal for the mission will be to take maximum payload per ship, it won't have any flaps and heat shield, which are essential for the re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. NASA has described Lunar Starship as a big game changer. However, they are not sure if it can be done in the proposed timeline of landing humans to the moon by 2024. When you look at the numbers, however, Lunar Starship does seem like a big game changer. With a capacity of taking upwards of 100 metric ton or 100 astronauts to the lunar surface, it is by far the best option available to us. However, in order to reach Moon, Starship will need refueling in the low Earth orbit. This is no small task. The Starship is estimated to have a dry mass of about 100 metric tons and would require around 300 metric tons of methane and liquid oxygen in order to take the payload to the proposed gateway. Yes, the gateway and not the lunar surface itself. As the moon doesn't have any atmosphere, landing there takes a significant amount of fuel, as there is no means for atmospheric aerobraking. So, in order to take the payload to the gateway, the Starship would require refueling by using 3 tanker Starship in the low Earth orbit. Further, in order to take the 100 metric ton of payload from the gateway to the surface of moon, discharging the payload in the surface of moon, getting back to the gateway, it would further require around 400 ton of fuel. This fuel should either be available at the gateway itself or should be facilitated by 4 trans-lunar tanker starships. We must keep in mind that these 4 tanker starships would each require 3 more tanker starships to refuel them in the low Earth orbit itself. You can see where this is going. In order to get a clear view, let's write down what we have just discussed. First, we'll launch the Lunar Starship. This Lunar Starship would require 3 tanker starships to take the payload up to the gateway. In order to land from the gateway to the moon and come back to the gateway, the Starship would require 4 trans-lunar tanker starships, with each of them requiring 3 tanker starships to refuel them in the low Earth orbit. This takes the tally to a total of 20 Starship launches for a single mission to moon with a payload of 100 metric tons. So, this actually ends up increasing the complexity of the mission rather than simplifying it. But every problem has its solution, isn't it? Elon Musk and his team at SpaceX are working on the mission hands-on, so there is no doubt that they are aware of the problem associated with the Lunar Starship, and they seem to have a solution for this. SpaceX have proposed the use of multiple starships for the moon missions. One in low Earth orbit would function like a propellant depot, which would be supplied by tanker starships regularly. This depot would be used by crew to refuel and continue towards the moon. However, it is not clear whether they would have such depot propellant starships in the lunar orbit, as they would probably need there, as we have seen. Such depot starship can also be used by other landing systems for refueling their landers. As the propellant for Starship is same as that of Blue Origin's BE-4 rocket engine, a collaboration can happen. However, this is unlikely considering SpaceX and Blue Origin's past relation. Anyways, one other problem associated with the Lunar Starship is the lunar dust. If the Starship uses its Raptors for landing and ascent, then it will surely dig a crater on the moon, not to mention the ton of lunar dust that will be blown away, taking a very long time to settle. However, it seems to have been solved by using separate thruster halfway up the Lunar Starship. In my opinion, we will see the best use of Lunar Starship when we actually have a base on moon. With its excellent capability of taking large amount of payload to the moon, it can be used to deliver heavy engineering and base expansion machinery and colony supplies or ferry large amount of astronauts to the moon. In any situation, Lunar Starship will have a significant role in the future of lunar exploration and hopefully colonization. What are your views on the Lunar Starship? Do you think it will be the one that actually takes the first Artemis crew to the moon? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the content, do consider subscribing the channel. It will be really helpful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.